So chances are you've read Lord of the Flies. Most of us did back in school. And you probably remember it as this really grim, kind of dark survival story, right? But what if I told you it's not really about survival at all? What if it's actually a blueprint, a frighteningly precise guide on how to build a dictatorship, step by brutal step?
Yeah, the classic story is pretty simple. A plane goes down, a bunch of schoolboys end up stranded on a deserted island, and they've got to figure out how to survive. It usually gets filed under adventure story. A Robinsonade, I think, is the official term.
But this is where it gets really interesting. If you look closer, the book's structure isn't really about surviving nature. No, it's a political horror story. It shows you in chilling detail exactly how a society can collapse and how a terrifying dictatorship can rise from the ashes. That island, it's not just a setting, it's a laboratory for tyranny. So to really get what author William Golding was doing, we have to look at it through a very specific lens. And that lens is the idea of a dystopia. Honestly, this one word is the key that unlocks the whole thing. Okay, so what is a dystopia anyway? Well, it's basically an imagined society where everything has just gone completely off the rails. We're talking totalitarian rule, people losing their sense of self, and the truth getting totally squashed. This idea is going to be super important, so just keep it in the back of your mind as we go. And here's the fascinating thing about dystopias. Almost every single one starts with the promise of a utopia, a perfect world. And you guessed it, the island in Lord of the Flies is no exception. I mean, think about it. At first, this place seems like a dream come true for these kids. No grown-ups, total freedom. They even call it a good island. The plan? Just have fun till they're rescued. But the reality that sets in is a nightmare. That freedom leads to terror. The shelters collapse, the good island becomes a place of sickness, and that promise of fun, it just creates a power vacuum that violence is more than happy to fill. And this right here, this is Golding's whole point. He's not trying to say our society is perfect. Far from it. What he's really arguing is that if you just tear down all the rules, all the structures that hold things together, you don't get paradise. You get a living hell. So, with the old rules gone, that power vacuum is just sitting there, waiting. And a new, much darker structure starts to take shape. This is where we get the step-by-step guide on how to build a dictator. Let's watch how Jack does it at his fortress, Castle Rock. Jack's playbook is frankly terrifyingly effective. First, he takes their fear of this mythical beast and weaponizes it, making himself out to be the only one who can protect them. Then, he seizes control of the essentials, food by tempting them with meat, and fire by stealing Piggy's glasses. He sheds his own name, Jack, and just becomes the chief, this nameless, faceless symbol of power. And finally, he cements his rule with the oldest tool in the book, random violence. And if you want to see that tool in action, just look at what happens to a boy named Wilfred. He's tied up and beaten for hours. When another boy dares to ask why, the answer is, there is no reason. It's totally arbitrary. And that's a classic move from the dictator's handbook. If punishment is unpredictable, then everyone is terrified all the time, because you never know if you're going to be next. Okay, but you can't be a dictator all by yourself, right? You need followers. So the next phase is all about stripping away their individuality and manufacturing a mob that's loyal only to you. So how do you do that? It's simple. You give them a uniform. And on this island, that uniform is the face paint. It's incredible how it works. The second a boy puts on that mask, it's like his own individual conscience just plummets. He's not Bill anymore. He's not Robert. He's just a hunter, a faceless part of the collective. And what does every mob need? A slogan, a chant. They repeat this over and over and over. It becomes this hypnotic ritual that completely bypasses rational thought and taps right into pure, shared aggression. It allows them to do the unthinkable, like murder Simon, because they aren't thinking as individuals anymore. And this brings us to maybe the most crucial point of all. The beast isn't just some monster. It's a political tool. It is propaganda. Jack constantly insists the beast is real, that it can never truly be killed. Why? Because as long as the boys are afraid of it, they will always feel like they need him to protect them. And if they need him, they will never question his authority. All right, now for the end game. The final pieces of this horrifying state are about to lock into place. To get total power, all opposition has to be eliminated. So first, you silence the voice of reason. That's Piggy. Then you destroy the symbols of democracy. That's the conch. You empower a terrifying enforcer, Roger, to act as your secret police. And for anyone who still dares to resist, like Sam and Reddick, well, you torture them into submission. Look, Piggy's murder is the regime's most important act. This is so much more than just killing a boy. It's the symbolic execution of intellect, of logic, of any connection to the rational world they left behind. With Piggy gone, there's no one left to question the madness. And get this, at the exact same moment Piggy dies, the conch, the one symbol of democratic order and free speech, is shattered into 1,000 pieces. The message could not be more brutally clear. The time for debate and rules is over. From this point on, only power matters. So, after all that, what are we supposed to take away from this? Golding's Island isn't just some far-off fantasy. It's a microcosm. It's a miniature model designed to hold up a mirror to our own world, to our own societies. Because what the book is really showing us is that you don't need advanced technology or a massive government to build a dystopia. You only need 3 simple ingredients: a population that's gripped by fear, a charismatic leader who promises to save them, and people who are willing to trade their freedom for a feeling of security. And that leads us to the final, chilling question Golding leaves us with. The horror of Lord of the Flies isn't what happens on the island. It's the realization that the island is everywhere. It's a warning about the darkness that lies not in some external beast, but within all of us, just waiting for the right conditions to emerge.